Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of My Filipino Adventure. I'll be your tour guide Michael, and Ina is in the couch because she just made her video. And this video, because today is our 3-year anniversary. Today, we've been married 3 years. And what I want to do in this video is, let's do a recap of, I did this I think after our 1-year anniversary, what it's like to be married to a Filipina. So this is what you can expect in my case. All Filipinas are different, just like all Americans and all English and Australian people. Everyone's different, but these are my experiences, and if I'm somewhat correct, go ahead and leave a comment. If you find the same things in your relationship, go ahead and leave a comment at the bottom. And if you're just courting your Filipina right now and you want to bring her to America, these are the kind of things that I went through personally, and I think some of them will probably ring true with a lot of other people. So, first off, unless you're living there and spending long periods of time with them, you don't really know this person until you get them here to the States. Now, I went over there 5 times to visit Ina, 5 different trips over a 2-year period. And we'd spend 3-4 weeks together at a time. But that's vacation time. That's fun time. That's travel time. Not being in the same house 24/7, week after week after week. So you don't really know someone unless you get to live with them for a while. And for us, that's not an option unless they can get some type of tourist visa, which is not easy to do. So you do the 90 days. So you can get a little feel for it in the first 90 days, but most of that time is just getting your marriage together, getting to the wedding and getting on the paperwork. And after that, that's when it begins. And then you get your honeymoon period, and you're feeling each other out and seeing how things are going. And then once that wears off, it's just the daily grind of being married. And I don't mean grind, because, it's not a grind. But first of all, you got to remember, you're taking her out of her country, her culture. In my case, I think Ina was 37 when I brought her here, 36 years old, 35, I don't know, somewhere like that. So, she was, steeped in her culture. She grew up there, and you're taking them away from their comforts of home, bringing them over to a foreign country. Her English is pretty good, but wasn't, spectacular. So she was shy to talk to people sometimes because of her accent and not understanding the language. And she didn't drive. And there's not a big Filipino community here, so she didn't have a whole lot of friends. She made a couple of them pretty quick, but so she was kind of stuck in the house. I actually took a lot of time off that first year from work so we could spend time together and not just leave her at home all day. So there's that. There's a big cultural difference. She'll be very homesick at the beginning, very, very homesick. So you're gonna have to put up with this, and you have to have long patience. And I'm not always the easiest guy to get along with, and I'm kind of set in my ways. I'm older, and I've been through a marriage before, and raised a family and all that. So I'm starting over again. I'm kind of set in my ways. So definitely have a lot of patience and a lot of understanding, but don't let them get away with bad behavior, because Filipinas tend to be a little bit of drama queens, and they have this thing in their culture where you're not allowed to really call anybody out on their actions, and if they're make poor decisions, or if they're not acting appropriately, they're not used to being called out, because in their culture it's kind of taboo to do. You shouldn't do that, especially around other people. So she had a hard time of saying that, oh, maybe I'm wrong. She'll just stick to her guns and then go through the dreaded tampo. And tampo, if you don't know what that is basically the cold shoulder that can last days and days, and sometimes a week or more. So she was prone to that at the beginning. So I'd say the first year was a little rough, little rocky, little ups and downs, but that's to be expected when you don't really know someone. You have to, but definitely we were in love and we were having 90% of the time it was fantastic, but then there was those bumps, like in any relationship. And once we got through that, things started getting better and better. Now we're on our 3 years, and we've been in 5 years all together and 3 years married. But there's trials and tribulations that you have to go through. Now, if you're a foreigner and you're bringing a Filipino over to your country, be prepared to be her everything for a while until she gets settled. So if there's a phone call that she has to make, you have to do it for her at the beginning. Unless you have this is my case. Like if set up a doctor's appointment, you have to go there with them. You have to drive them because Ina doesn't drive. And you have to sometimes go into the doctor's room with them so you can actually talk to the doctor, because she might not be able to communicate to you properly exactly what he said. And every time she needs something, or anytime she wants something, you're gonna have to do it for her. And I've made so many phone calls and made so many trips, and well, I'm still doing that, but she's getting more and more independent or Americanized, as time goes by. So be prepared for that. That's definitely a big thing. It's kind of like raising a kid in a sense. It's not the age thing, it's just it's the cultural thing. You have to teach them. They have to learn this whole new world that they live in. My glasses keep on falling down, sorry about that. So there's that. And then there's other things too, like that you notice, and these aren't good or bad things, these are just things that you notice. Buy a rice cooker right off the bat, and try to find an Asian market nearby to do that. And if you can, if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of Filipino community or population, at least try to find, I'm just gonna take the glasses off. Try to find maybe, I don't know, like I said, some type of Filipino community, so nothing makes them happier than, I call them play dates, that we were fortunate enough to have the channel, so people would reach out to us and say, hey, I'm not too far from you, we watch your channel, we like your channel, and my Filipino wants to meet Ina real bad, so we'd go and have play dates and go hang out with these people, and they're just cheese miss, and they love it. And it makes me happy too, because I know that she's happy. So try to set up something like that, or at least be willing to facilitate something like that when she gets there, even if you have to drive long distances for play dates or meetups. It means a lot to them, and it helps them settle in more comfortably. What else can I say about the Filipinas that you might expect? They eat a lot. They can put food away. The portions here in America, I'm not sure about Western countries or Australia. Portions here in America are huge, and Filipino portions are small. And of course, she's a province girl, and food is not as abundant as it is here. So anything that you leave on your plate is wasting. So you get these huge portions, and she'll eat until she's gonna burst. She's almost like too full, because she thinks it's wasting food not to eat it all. So prepare at the beginning, they're gonna put on a few pounds. And it's true, because our portions are too big. But she's conquered that. And help them to become Westernized. People think that's a bad thing. They say, she'll get Westernized and leave you or something. Well, if she's going to do that, then it's not a real relationship anyway. I had one guy actually say, you let your wife work outside of the house? Aren't you afraid she's going to find someone? Well, what am I going to do, keep her prisoner in the basement? Of course, I want her to go out and socialize. She's got a bunch of friends at work, and she comes home and tells me stories about this guy and this girl and all these people at work. That's her life. I can't be her whole life. I can just be a part of it. So you want them to become Westernized. You want them to learn the language. You want them to learn the culture. You want them to learn how things work, how money works here too. She's been real good about that. She's a really hard worker, and she tries to save. And at the beginning, and still to this day, I think she goes on Amazon Prime a little too much, and she buys a lot of stuff that we really don't need. But I think this is the first time she's really making, you know, a decent amount of money, and so I'll just let her get it out of her system. And now she's getting, you know, after 3 years, or 3 years here in America, she's starting to realize that she doesn't need all this stuff, but it's a process that she had to go through to learn that. So go ahead and you know, let them get westernized, let them get Americanized. You know, help them to find friends outside of the relationship, because I'm not sure how all Filipinos are, but I find that they're a forever type of mentality with them. Basically, Ina says that she got married. She's only going to get married once. That's it. This is forever. So I'm not worried about her, you know, running around or anything. And if she does, I mean, you know, that's the end of the relationship. And then that's probably not going to work anyway. If the first chance she gets, he goes out and starts running around with guys or something, and it's bound not to work anyways. And you can't stop that by keeping them, you know, trapped in the house. So this is not, I think a lot of people, not a lot, but, you know, I'm gonna get myself a province girl, bring her here, and she's just gonna cook and clean for me and take care of me and all that stuff. And they do all that stuff, but what kind of life is that for them? You know, just to be like a slave? That's, you know, you can't treat them that way at all. And they won't put up for it anyway, because they're strong, independent people. And a few other things too. You're gonna be, Ina doesn't drive yet. We went through some attempts to teach her how to drive, but now she's working so much, we don't really even have time. So I drive her to work every morning, and it interferes with my, you know, day. Good thing that I'm self-employed, so I can make my own hours, but she works at 10 o'clock, so I can't start my job until after I drop her off. Luckily, she has someone who will take her home at night. Her friend Rosie drives her home at night, but I have to drop her off every day to work. So you're gonna be her chauffeur. You're also going to be a personal photographer, because Filipinos are the selfie queens of the world. Filipinas and Filipinos take more pictures and more selfies than any other country in the world. So it gets a little bit on my nerves sometimes when we're trying to enjoy something. It's, babe, take a picture of me here. Take me a picture there. It's pictures, 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 pictures. You know, just give into it. I'd limit it. Like I said, I don't reward bad behavior, but, you know, I'd limit it to a point where I say, okay, you can have like 6 pictures today, and after that, you're gonna have to do it yourself, because it does get a little old. But they like it, it makes them happy. So, if happy wife, happy life, so they say. What else about the Filipinas that you should be ready for? I think the biggest thing is that they're gonna be homesick, and they're gonna have a huge culture shock. So use the long patience best you can. Be prepared for tampo in the beginning. Even that's the cultural differences, and we'll probably end on this. The cultural differences are like jokes and just sayings that all Americans know, and quotes from movies and music and things like that that all Americans know. And when they don't understand it, for one, it's weird. It's like, oh, you never heard this before? No, they haven't, because this is not part of their culture. And sometimes they think that you're picking on them, especially if it's like a ribbing type of joke. You're joking someone like at their expense, but and then they'll get angry at you. And at the beginning, that was a reason for a lot of the tampo. She'd say, "You're always picking on me," and I wasn't. I'm just ribbing her. And that's an American thing. I know it's an English thing. We just like to take the piss out of someone just as a joke, and like that. Actually, she's pretty good about it now. She even gives it back to me. But at the beginning, yeah, watch that. And otherwise, you'll get tampo. And tampo is the worst, because it just kills the whole day or the next day. You get the weekend off, you want to spend it together, and you get tampo. And you know, I feel bad if I was to say, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to leave and go do something for a couple hours and leave the house. Well, then I feel extremely guilty, because she's stuck here at the house. She doesn't know anyone. She can't leave. So we just sit around the house in separate rooms for like 2 days at a time, not talking to each other. And That's the worst. That is the worst. So Tampo is the worst part of marrying a Filipina, but she's real good about that now. She hardly, or now she has the sense to tell me what's bothering her, because at the beginning they won't even tell you. They just won't talk to you. Now she'll say, oh, you did this and this, and then we can discuss it. And it cuts Tampo down sometimes to 15 minutes, which is amazing, which is just basically an American style argument. So anyway, so just be prepared to learn, listen and learn, and be patient. They gave up a lot to come here. Somebody said, what do you mean they're coming here to the land of opportunity and all this money and stuff? They should be thankful. You know, if you think that way, it's probably doomed to fail, because they gave up their whole life to come here. Yeah, no, it might be a better life, but until they get situated, it's scary and overwhelming to them. So you know, have some patience. So 3 years, we spent the night down in Detroit at the casino, and stayed at a really nice hotel last night for our anniversary. And I'm sure we're gonna have, I don't know, 70, 80 more anniversaries to come, because it's forever at this point. So anyway, she's making a video now too, because I'm sure I'm not the easiest person to live with. So look at Ina Clark's channel, and she's gonna see, she's gonna pose the question, what's it like for Filipinas to be married to an American? So go over there and check that out, and you know, just be cool, be calm, stay classy.